Hi, in this video, I'm going to discuss the last 5 hard questions in SLMC 5 2023 paper. So let's go straight to the questions. Let me share the questions. Okay, hope you can see the questions, right? So this is a cover page. Now you're familiar with the cover page, right? So question number 26. Now, as I say, so before I discuss the question, so you should try it and solve it, right? So only after you give a fair try, you should actually watch the video, right? Because you cannot learn mathematics by watching others do. You had to do it, okay? Right. So here's a question. In a group of students, there are 13 girls and 17 boys. If half of the group goes for a walk, then at least how many boys are in the walk? Okay, so pause the video and do it, and then come back. Okay, right. So hope that you at least attempted this, right? If you were able to solve it, that's fine, that's good, but still you should watch how I solve it. Okay, all right. So 13 girls and 17 boys. So half of the group, right, is actually half of 13 plus 17. So 13 plus 17 is 30, and half of that is 15. So if 15 are in the group, right, uh, at least how many boys are in the walk? So that means no matter how this half is formed, right, at least this many are there in the group, this many boys, right? So that means even if the maximum number of girls are in the group, that is 13 are in the group of 15, there has to be 2 boys, right, in the group for the group to be half of 15, right? So that means at least 2 boys should be in the group. It could be more than that, but at least 2 boys have to be in the group. Okay. So we go to the next question. Lasita and Pasindu are in a line, and there are 5 students between them. There are 7 students in front of Lasita and 4 students behind Pasindu. How many are in the line? Okay, pause the video and do it and come back. Okay, hope that you did at least attempted it. Okay, let's solve this. So 5 students between Lasita and Pasindu. So I'm going to draw either I can draw, okay, let's see, I draw this, right? Now, in the competition, you should not take too much time, right? Here I'm actually explaining, right? So these are the 5 students between Pasindu and, so Lasita and Pasindu. So L for Lasita and P for Pasindu, right? And there are 7 students in front of Lasita and 4 students behind Pasindu. We don't know what is meant by behind Pasindu. So is it this way or this way? Behind, right? So now since if it is this way, right, you can see that there are how many people uh, before Pasindu? There are actually 6 people, right? So if only 4 students are behind Pasindu, then behind means this way, right? It can't be the other way, right? So then there are, sorry, that man didn't come out, right? So let me erase it and draw a nice man, right? So there are 5, 4. Behind passing loop, and we figured out how many the behind that which way, right, is behind passing loop, and then there are 7 in front of Lasita, so it has to be this side because this way actually there are many after Lasita, right? So it has to be this way, and there are 7 here, 7 students, right? Altogether, how many? So here, so let me use a different color. Lasita and Pasindo, between them 5, right? So 5 plus less than Pasindo 2, and behind Pasindo 4, and in front of Lasita 7, right? So how many altogether? So 7 plus 4 is 11 plus 7 is 18. So there are 18 in the line, right? So the answer is 18. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. The following 10 by 10 grid consists of 100 small rectangles of side lengths 3 centimeters and 4 centimeters and diagonal length 5 centimeters. What is the shortest distance between A and B, right? Okay, so pause the video, do it, and come back. Okay, so let's try this one. So the shortest distance between A and B, right? Now, common sense should tell you that the shortest distance between any 2 points is actually the straight line joining the 2, right? So here also, it is the same, right? So the straight line joining the 2 points A and B, and when you join the straight line, right, I think you should actually, common sense should tell you that it has to go through these, so the diagonals are of these squares, right? So there are 10 squares, right? In which we had to go the straight line, right? Lies from A to B, lies in these 10 rectangles, and the straight line actually go along the diagonals of these 10 rectangles, right? So these are diagonals. So let me, so these are diagonals, right? See, so diagonal of this rectangle and the diagonal of this rectangle, right? So all these are diagonals, right? So the straight line from A to B consists of the diagonals. How many diagonals are there? There are actually 10 diagonals, right? And what is the length of each diagonal? It's actually 5 centimeters, right? So then the total length of is this the shortest distance, right? Is actually 50 centimeters, right? 50 centimeters. So is it here? That answer? It is. It is there, right? The answer is 50. Okay. So, all right. Right. We go to the next question. The following figure gives a side view of a structure made of 32 small cubes of volume 1 cubic centimeters. 1 milliliter of paint is needed to paint one face of a small cube. How many milliliters of paint are needed to paint the structure without painting the bottom? Okay, pause the video, you can see the question, do it, and come back. Okay, hope that you at least attempted the question, right? All right. Now, there are 32 small cubes, right, in this structure, right? Where are these 32 small cubes, right? Now, it could be that, we see this structure, but there's a hollow inside. So then when you paint this, right? It matters to figure out whether there's a hollow or not, right? Now, let's count the cubes that we see, right? On the bottom layer, right, we see 4 by 4 cubes, right? So 16 cubes, right? And so in the next layer, right? So this is bottom layer, next layer, right? How many cubes are there? So we see that, so let's assume that there's no hollow. So then it has to be, so I'm going to count, so first, this row, there are 3. And in the next one, there's another 3. And the next one, there's 4. So how many altogether? It's actually 10. And then this layer, how many? So there are actually 3 plus 2, 5. And then the top layer, just 1, right? You can see that. So it is actually 16. So altogether we have 32. So that means there is no hollow, right? Uh, so when you paint, except the bottom, so without painting the bottom, right? So we can actually first paint um, this side, right? So you actually look at it from so the this side, right? So how many faces are there? See, to paint one face, we need 1 milliliter of paint. So how many faces are there? So let's count. So actually we counted the cubes. Sorry, no. So so I'm going to count, from the bottom. So there are 4, right? And then the next layer, so there's another 4, and the next layer. So that means uh, this layer, right? So there's 3. So there are 3, and the top one, 1. So how many are there? So it's 8 plus 3 plus 1. So that's actually 12. So there are 12 faces to paint, right? Now let's look at this side, opposite side, right? Opposite. So from the opposite side, how many faces are there? And we can count, but we can be smart and not count, right? And realize that from this side, right, the same number of faces have to be there. Same number of faces, right? So that means 12 faces. If you're not sure, we can actually paint them in blue, those faces. Let's see whether we had 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we have 8, 9, 10, 11. We missed one. That is this one, right? 12. So those are the 12 faces, right? Correct. See? So if you take a side and the opposite side, you have the same number of faces, right? Then what about this side? How many faces are there? So we know that we have the same number of faces from the opposite side. So let's count the faces from this side, right? So how many are there? That's easy, right? So we start from the bottom layer. So there are actually 4 cubes there. And next one we have 3. And the next one we had 2. And the next one is 1. So actually that is 10, altogether 10. So there are 10 faces there. And even from this side, 10 faces, right? Right. And then from the top, how many faces are there? From the top, and that is same as from the bottom, right? Bottom is very easy, right? It is 4 by 4, 16 cubes are there, right? So we had to paint 16 faces from the top, right? Because bottom we don't paint. So then altogether how many? So this is 24, and then this is 20 and 16. So 16 plus 24 is 40, plus 20 is 60, right? That's how I add, right? I add in blocks, right? I select an easy blocks to add, okay? So we need 60 milliliters of paint to paint all the sides except the bottom. Okay, so let's move on to the next question, the last one, right? So here's a question. Sarat, Abdul, Meena, Kamala, and Susan have different numbers of marbles, totaling 125 marbles altogether. What is the greatest number of marbles can the person with the least number of marbles have? First, we need to understand the question because it's the greatest, least. Right? Okay, I'm going to give you time. So pause the video and do it and come back. Okay, that we at least attempted this problem, right? And let's see. So these 5 people, right, they have a certain number of marbles, right? All the numbers are different. And so obviously one person has the largest number, the greatest number, right? Um, and then one has a least number. But the greatest number of marbles can a person with the least number. So that means, so if we arrange them, so we don't know who is going to have the least number, right? So let me draw like this person, right, is going to have the least number, right? And so we have 5 people, right? Right? So this one, the least number, right? And all of them have 125. So if the least person to have the greatest number, right? So that means, right, the difference between each one of them has to be the smallest, right? So least one and the one next to him or her has to be, that person should have only one more than that one, right? The same is true between these two, only one, right? Only one, right? So these 5 people, right? So they have marbles, right? Numbers, right? But the difference is, just one, right? That way, actually, the person with the least number will have the most number, the greatest number, right? So, so how do you find out this number, right? Um, so we can actually start with, okay, let's see now, how many do we need to make sure that each one has a different number, right? So as we have realized, that the difference between the least one and the one next one, right? So then let's give, okay, let's say that this person has one, right? So that means the next one, okay, we'll have a different color for that, right? So this has one, right? The least one has one, and the next one should have two because the difference has to be one. The next one, three. Next one, four. Next one, five. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. How many are there? So 3, 3, 6, 10, 15. 15, right? And then if you subtract 15 from 125, how many we get? What's it? So that's actually 110. So if you distribute 110 equal among these 5, then we know that each one has a different number, and the least one will have the greatest number, right? So then 110 divided by 5, what do we get? We get, so 5 goes 2 times into 11, and 10, 1, and so it is actually 22 marbles, right? So we add 22 to each person, right? That actually in a different color, let's say, so we add 22 to 1, right? 22 to 1, 2, right? 22 to 3. So that means The least one will have 23, and the next one 24, next one 25, next one 26, next one 27. And when you total all these, we get 125. That means the one with the least number of marbles, right, will have maximum, right? If that person has the maximum, that has to be 23. Okay, so the answer is 23. So hope that you enjoyed these questions, right? So these actually challenge your thinking, right? Whether you can think logically, whether you can think creatively, whether you can think outside the box. Okay. So by doing these kind of problems, you will develop your thinking, your critical thinking. Okay. All right. So before I finish this session, let's look at what is actually in the last page, right? So there's some write up here. So this is actually for your parents and teachers, right? Parents and teachers, right? But there's something for you um, below this write up, and that is this cartoon, right? So this is a very a funny cartoon, right? I want you to um, read this cartoon and enjoy, right? So this cartoon actually is from this Calvin and Hobbes. So I want you to find out what this cartoon, right? So you can Google. So if your parents tell your parents, I want to Google and find out about Calvin Hobbes. Okay, okay. Then I'm going to wind this up now, and I will see you again in another video. Okay, take care.